Hey everybody, and thank you for tuning in for my second live stream. This time I decided to do it at a different time. Right now it's 12 o'clock lunchtime here in Sydney, Australia. I figured I'd do this because everywhere around the world might be sleeping. Last time I did a live stream, so I'll try it a bit different this time. So first and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to my members and Patreons. So C. Nile, Alan D. Kimber, Svetlana Puls, Milton Warren, and Anders Nilsson. Your membership means a lot to me. If you want to join as a member, you can join on YouTube or Patreon. My link is in the description. So first, I'll say hello to everyone that joined in. Also, I'd like to point out I'm doing this live stream on Instagram as well. So wherever you want to ask me questions, go ahead. I'll try and catch up with all of them. So Walter Wiseman first says, howdy, Henry. Mark Purvis says, hey to both of you. Buddy Mac13 says, hey, Henry. I'm pretty sure you're in the last live stream too, if I'm not mistaken. Zach says, Kifenta ya sabab. I know that's in Arabic. I'm not 100%. I know Kifenta means how are you? So I'm good, thanks. Herm says, hi, Henry. Love your videos. Easy to follow and taste delicious. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, so I guess that's everyone saying hello on YouTube. So let's move on to questions. So I'll start with a couple that you guys emailed through to me, and then we'll go to the live. So El Sai says, what was the most challenging obstacle you overcame when you were first opening your restaurant? How did you come about finding the solution? Okay, so firstly, it is a family restaurant. It's not just me. When we started, I was 17 actually at the time. So if I was on my own, I'd be struggling. So we started our first family restaurant, and I'm actually here right now, JAZZVEH. So we're in Bella Vista in Sydney, and we're a pizza restaurant, Italian restaurant. So when we first started, we didn't really have much experience with the restaurant industry, but we did have business experience. Now, as a kid, I was always into wanting to run a business, and I actually had ideas for a cafe since I was a kid. From what my dad has told me, he still has those ideas that I'd written down. So as far as a challenging obstacle, look, the industry itself is very overwhelming when you first start, especially if you have no experience. So in the past, I had worked in retail, and I'd also worked as an apprentice electrician. But something like this is completely different because your customers want service straight away. Whereas in retail, especially when you're working for someone else, you tend to not care sometimes. As an apprentice electrician, the customer isn't always on the site. So you sometimes take your time, you slack off. You know what tradies are like. Whereas here, especially when it's your own business, you really give it all you got. And when people complain, it really hits you, it gets to you. So that would be the obstacle, is wanting to make everyone happy. You know, I tried as hard as I could. The hours back then were crazy. We'd open up here at like 6, 7 in the morning just to get everything prepared. We'd bring the furniture in every night, so we'd have to take it out every morning as well. And just getting used to the whole idea of having to order stuff, you know, your like your ingredients and your stock, and dealing with staff at the time, you know, it took a lot. And at the time, we were just managing. So we had chefs at the time. So that's another thing, being a chef. So I sort of almost got pushed into being the head chef because our chef resigned at the time. And being a sort of new restaurant, it's hard to like find anyone else. You can't really trust them. So the chef we had at the time actually taught me basically how to run the kitchen here at JAZZVEH. So we started with the pizza section, so I learned how to do wood-fired pizzas. And eventually he took me into the back kitchen, so I learned how to do pastas from the start. So pastas, risotto, Italian basics. And then we went on to like main dishes. So, you know, steaks and chicken and fish, seafood, things like that. So that all came in time. Another obstacle was the first night that I actually ran the kitchen as the head chef. We happened to be ridiculously busy than we should have been. And it honestly put a lot of pressure on me, like a lot, but somehow we got through it. And what made it easy for me is a regular customer came, and they had about 10 people, and they used to come here every week. He came up to me and said that was the best steak he ever had. Now, just that small comment really lifted up my spirits and got me to keep on going. So you can imagine what would happen if someone came up to me and said, "Oh, that was disgusting." That's why, guys, when you go out to restaurants, be careful what you say. Comments like that can really hurt people. Ahmed Suleiman says, "Do you have plans to shoot more videos for your series Restaurant Realities 101? Look, yes, I do. I know I've left a bit of a gap. The reason being is when I first started this series, Australia had come out of lockdown and we barely had any COVID cases here. So life had sort of gone back to normal. Operations of the restaurant was back to normal. So I had more things to talk about. Now, unfortunately, between when I did my last video and now, we basically had another lockdown. So in saying that, we had to revert back to takeaway only, had to revert to minimal staff. And you can only imagine there was nothing for me to talk about. So yeah, I'm definitely going to start doing those again. If there's any things you want to know, let me know. But I'm thinking the next video that I'll do for that series will be to do with how to deal with customers and, so forth. Customer relations, customer feedback, social media, all that stuff. Funyao says, tips on making Tadic. Now, guys, Tadic it's a translation in Persian to the crust at the bottom of the pot. So it's a rice crust, it's very crispy, and it's a delicacy. So they're asking, I always fail to achieve the crispy bottom. It's either burnt or not crispy. Should I use a heavy bottom pan or no when making Tadic? Look, Tadic comes with experience. In the restaurant, we tend not to make the Tadic because it becomes a waste, because it's hard to serve Tadic in the restaurant because we make a very big pot of rice. Now, if you're doing it at home, guys, what you want to use is a non-stick pan or a non-stick pot. Don't use sort of an aluminium or something because it's going to stick. I'm going to tell you that right now. You can use a heavy bottom pan. Just make sure it's non-stick. One of the tips is make sure you put enough oil when you're putting your rice at the bottom and a bit of water. Now, the oil will stop it from actually burning and it will actually help in getting that nice golden crust. So that's one tip. Try to use that. I do have a video in my channel if you want to check that out. If that doesn't work out for you, just let me know and I'll try and help you out. Herm says, when I have juje kebab, I like to have sauce with it. Any recommendations on a good condiment with it? Okay, so with juje being chicken and being a Persian dish, I would always recommend Mast Musir or Mast Khiyar. Now, these are two Persian yogurt dips. Mast Musir is made with Persian eshallot, so it sort of has a garlicky flavor. And Mast Khiyar is with cucumber and mint, so it's similar to a tzatziki. They both go very well with juje, and they are both Persian. But what I'd also like to recommend is doing it with matum, which is the Lebanese garlic sauce. So give that a try. You'd be surprised how well it works. Next question. Ross Felix Zylirak, hopefully I said that right. No dairy alternatives to yogurt in your recipes. Okay, so that will depend on why you're going dairy alternative. If you're doing it because you're dairy-free or vegan, what I would recommend is to use coconut yogurt. So when I did ketosis a few years ago, I switched to coconut yogurt on everything. And look, you can hardly tell it has a coconut flavor to it. So if you're using it as a marinade, the coconut yogurt will be just fine. If you're doing it because you're lactose intolerant, just use lactose-free yogurt. Another alternative is almond yogurt. Now, I would try and avoid soy yogurt at all costs because soy has a very strong flavor. But once again, that's up to you. If you like it, go for it. YJ says, can you give me a nice marinade recipe for chicken barbecue grill? Thank you. Look, I have several videos on my channel on things like that. So chicken's very popular, and I have probably 100 recipes on it easily. So it would really depend on if you want to do Middle Eastern or you want to do something simple. Now, if it's something simple, honestly, sometimes when I get bored in the restaurant, I get chicken breast, I'll marinate with barbecue sauce, salt, pepper, paprika, garlic, just basics like that. And it always works fantastic. Now, if you want to go something a bit lighter, I would say marinade with lemon juice, olive oil, salt, pepper, bit of oregano. So it'll be sort of a Greek style, Italian style. That's just as amazing. If you want to go all out, try my Persian juje kebab. And there's a lot more Middle Eastern recipes as well. And I have a few Indian ones as well. So if you want a bit more spice, go for that. Okay, guys, so that's all all the questions that got emailed to me. So let's move on to our live and see. So first question is Walter Wiseman. I would like to know what sort of wood do you burn for the pizza oven and if you use many kinds of wood. Look, for our pizza oven here, we use hardwood. So it's ironbark. So it's not the cheapest sort of wood, but it's not the most expensive, but it does the job. It retains the heat very well. It lights up quickly. We don't use any really other kinds. Like, we'll throw some kindling in there to speed it up, but that would be it. So being a commercial oven, we wouldn't really use anything like hickory, for example. But if you're doing it at home, that would be amazing. Orestes Noboa Soto says, greeting from the Dominican Republic. Thank you very much. Good to see you tuning in from there. Buddy Mac 13 says, how did you get into cooking? All right, so I sort of answered this last time. I got into cooking, I would say I got into baking from a young age. So I always like to bake, cakes and things like that. Not that I was very good at it. It took me years to actually get it right because I would just always open the oven door. And everyone says, don't open the door, you'll lose the temperature quickly, but, I didn't care. So I learned the hard way. And in fact, a few times when I took it out and it was still raw, I would just put it in the microwave to speed it up. So don't tell anybody I said that. As for cooking from a professional point of view, as I mentioned before, our chef here was resigning. This was about 11 years ago. Now, rather than find a new chef where you'd have issues with trusting him, the chef at the time did teach me everything, not everything, but the basics. And he was always here for like another week after he sort of resigned. So he watched over me. I made a lot of mistakes and he'd guide me through it all. So in a way, I did have a very good mentor. So that's very important. JT says, hello, Henry. Thanks for all the tips you give. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. Rose Same says, hi from UK. Thank you very much for tuning in. I did actually do this live stream time because I knew it would help out everyone in the UK and also in the States. So we'll see how this goes until I determine what's a good time to always do them. Melines Sakoyan says, I recently made your nazuk. It was very delicious. Thank you very much for that. Not the easiest thing to make, not the easiest thing to perfect, but I'm glad you're happy with it. B. Retmiri says, hi, Henry. What is your favorite meal? Look, it depends on my mood. If I'm sort of going out to a restaurant or something, I like to always go for simple, basic stuff. So like a burger, for example. I tend not to order pizza anywhere I go out because, look, I can make it here myself. I can make it with any ingredients I want. I can customize it. And everybody likes to customize their meals these days. Other than that, I do like to go out to any sort of Asian type of restaurant. So Asian food is my favorite. Mainly Chinese. What about you? Let me know what your favorite meal is. Buddy Mac 13 says, ouch. Oh, yeah, I agree. That is a very hard story. Claude1234 says, is your favorite Pixar movie Ratatouille? Look, I never really got into sort of Pixar movies. I mean, when I was a kid, I did. Monsters, Inc. was my favorite. And I'm going to say it still is. Like, at the time I loved it, I still love it now. My favorite genre of movies is horror or thriller. Occasional comedy, but if it's ever a good horror, I'm always there to see it. What about you? Let me know what your favorite is. Okay. Sharky says, for your juja and chencha kebab marinades, how do you know when to use olive oil and when to use vegetable oil? So guys, look, from a cost point of view in the restaurant, it's very unlikely any restaurant uses olive oil when marinating. So if I'm doing a video on YouTube and I'm marinating, I'll use olive oil because I want you guys to see that's how it's done at home for better results. So when we're marinating in the restaurant, we'll use a vegetable oil. More commonly these days, we use sunflower oil. So it's not the cheapest, but it's also not the worst. It's actually very decent. So that simply comes from a cost point of view. Victor Power says, the question is, are you a good cook? The answer is yes. Well, you answered that question for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Buddy Mac 13 says, yeah, I'll always burn it. Look, I mean, it took me well over a year before I could perfect it, actually. So don't stress about it. Will come with experience. I know people that are older than me and cook the Persian rice regularly that still can't do it. So experience. Okay, Victor Powell says, okay, make more videos. Please gotta go. See you next time. Thanks for that. I definitely will. I'll be posting a new video today actually on my feed where a few of you asked me, how do you make mincemeat at home? So I'm going to show you how to do it how I do it in my restaurant, for example. The same will apply if you're doing it at home. So if you have a meat grinder, you can use my same method. If you have a KitchenAid mixer, you can get the mincer attachment for it. If not, look guys, it can be done in a food processor. We'll just change the consistency, that's all. Mohabbat Khan Malak says, hi Henry, nice to see you one-on-one. Thank you very much. Glad to see you tuning in. Claude1234, have you mixed different cultures, food, spices to create a dish? For example, soy sauce in Middle Eastern food or yogurt in Mexican? Look, actually I have. So in the restaurant here, we do a few pizzas that have lamb on it. When we used to get our lamb, we'd marinate it very basic, just salt, pepper, sumac, olive oil, a bit of lemon juice. One time, this was before I sort of took on professionally, I wanted to do something radical. So what I did was got lamb backstrap. I mixed it with mint jelly and soy sauce and also sweet soy sauce. Marinated for a couple of hours and grilled it, and the flavor was amazing. And I started doing it like that for a long time. Basically, we've changed it now. You know, not everyone likes mint, not everyone eats soy. Now we do it a bit different. We just do a very basic salt, pepper, sumac, turmeric, to keep it nice and simple. Sinan Hadi says, where are you from? Look, I'm in Sydney, Australia, but I was born in Perth in Western Australia. Carla Rezavi says, salam from Texas. Salam, good to see you tuning in. So obviously this time is working out for the States. I can see a lot of people from the States are tuned in this time. Next question. Walter Weissman says, do you ever use an electronic pasta maker? And would you recommend any brand? No, I don't. Whenever I make pasta, I do it with a hand cranker. So it's a very simple one. It's I'm pretty sure it's a KitchenAid brand actually. I know KitchenAid has a pasta maker attachment for their brand of mixers. But if I'm ever doing, for example, lasagna sheets, we have a commercial pizza dough roller. So it sheets out the dough for us. So I'll use that and you can set the fineness to whatever you want. But if you're doing a small batch, just do a hand cranker. There's nothing wrong with that. SA says, been to both restaurants and always hits the spot. Thank you very much. Bahadir Kaya says, salam from Texas. So good to see someone else from Texas joining in again. Sandra K says, my husband said I can't watch you anymore with Azeri. Look, good joke. I know politically we all have our issues, but we're all human. So, look. JT says, how do you feel about using mayo on steak? Look, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, mayo is very popular now, you know. A lot of places, you get mayo on the side now with, you know, chips, chicken, anything. So I don't see an issue with that, especially if it's something like an aioli or like a flavored mayo. Definitely not a problem. Rose Same says, what's your best-selling, most popular dish? Look, I'm at the Italian restaurant right now. So our most popular dish here is pizza. That's what we're known for. So we do wood-fired pizza here. We make our dough from scratch. We make our pizza sauce from scratch. Everything is from scratch. The most popular pizza here would be, I would say, the JAZZVEH signature pizza. So this one we do a special tomato base. Can't tell you the recipe on that, unfortunately. It's a family recipe. So that one you've got pulled lamb. So we roast that in the wood fire oven here. It also has grilled eggplant, feta, walnuts, red sumac, and parsley. And obviously mozzarella. The thing about that is when it comes out of the oven, the aroma is very amazing. It smells up the entire restaurant. And being the signature dish, look, people look at the menu, that's what they want to try. The other popular dish would be the Supreme pizza. I mean, you know, just like me, you can't decide what you want. Supreme is always a safe bet. Sorry, guys. had a whole bunch of questions just come through, so I have to scroll back. All right, SA says, how do you deal with customers who are just lying and want a free meal? So guys, that's an interesting question. So I've been in the industry for 12 years now. When that used to happen back in the day, you want to please the customer any way you can. So you apologize, you say, look, can I get you something else? You try and avoid saying, look, you can have it for free. Because basically that's saying, yeah, I know something's wrong with it. Look, just get it for free and get out of here. Unfortunately, these days, with bloggers and vloggers and everything, this is happening more often than you think. So there's a few ways you can deal with this, but you need to keep your guard up. In my case, 1% of the time I'll give people a meal for free. Reason for that is if I want them just to leave and get out of my restaurant. So I'll try and think of a good example. More like the recent example, I would say. During COVID, actually, like with the lockdown and everything, look, restaurants were all struggling. And you get the occasional idiot that would call and say, look, I ordered food and it was dry. Now, the last time that I can recall, somebody called an hour after they had received their meal. Now, that order of Uber Eats. So, guys, the way Uber works is you're paying Uber to place an order for you and deliver it for you. You're not paying the restaurant. So if something goes wrong from that, Uber's not going to pay us completely. So you need to understand that. So this specific person called and said, look, I received my order and it was dry. So I asked him, look, when did you order it? And I looked on my tablet. I'm like, when did you receive it? And he gave me a specific time. And when I looked, there was a 55-minute difference from the time he left our restaurant to the time it got to him. So I told him, look, unfortunately, that is out of our control. We don't provide the drivers. Once it leaves our restaurant, we're unable to guarantee or provide support at all. You need to go through Uber. Now, he said, look, but, I've ordered it from you. I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but you've paid Uber. So if there's an issue, they're not going to pay me. Now, if you really like, next time, come in, order pickup, and you'll see the quality difference. Because when you get something straight away, like 2 minutes after it's served, it's going to be completely different to 55 minutes sitting in a container. And his response was, no, I'm too lazy. I need to get it delivered. Which I said, look, unfortunately, that's out of my control. That's the price you pay. You need to expect there's going to be a quality difference when you're ordering through Uber. Now, I order through Uber all the time because that's how I like to try out new restaurants. I have never given a restaurant a bad feedback, even if the food is bad, because we're all doing it tough right now. So it's the ultimate slap in the face to do that. Mahabat Khan Malak says, Henry, tell us more on Middle Eastern herbs. I think all or most herbs originated in the mid-Middle East. Look, yes, that's correct. A lot of them were in the Middle East. Now, this is including India and Pakistan as well. So a lot of different spices have originated from there, and they've traveled all over as well. So saffron, for example, is heavily used in India and Spain as well. And, it's becoming very more popular now with diets as well, because they reckon saffron's good for weight loss. So I know saffron tea is very popular now. I've never actually tried it, but I've heard good things about it being good for weight loss. Turmeric as well, for example, heavily used in Indian cooking, but also used a lot in Persian cooking. I've seen it also in Afghan cooking. Red sumac as well, heavily used in Persian cooking, but I've actually seen French recipes that need sumac as well. So, the culinary world is really advancing, We're all sharing our ideas. Juan Slogot says, hi, Henry. Hi from Los Angeles. Big fan of your channel. Very jealous of the lamb you have over there. Not all restaurants here make chikufte with lamb. That is very interesting, actually, because when I was in LA in Glendale last time, the first day we went to, I forgot the name of it, but a supermarket in Glendale. And out of curiosity, I went to the meat section because I wanted to see what the pricing differences were. And there was no lamb at all in the window, like in any kind. No lamb cuts, no lamb mince, no goat, nothing. And I was kind of surprised. And I saw, beef was much cheaper than it is here in Australia. and you had all the cuts there, but there was no lamb. Then we went out to dinner to Ruffy's place, which is a kebab restaurant in Glendale, and all their kebabs were made with beef, including barg and kubide and chenje. So I was really surprised that lamb isn't so big over there. Now, I don't know if that's just the state of California alone or if it's all over the states. I haven't been everywhere, so I wouldn't know. So that's an interesting one. There was a time where lamb wasn't popular here. Now, this would have been before my time, but apparently lamb was so cheap that the sellers were desperate to get rid of it. So maybe one day it will make a big presence in the States. I don't know, but we'll see how that goes. But very interesting. Bahadur Kaya says, Henry, what brand of spices do you prefer or recommend for kebabs and Mediterranean dishes? Love your videos. So guys, I'll let you on a little secret. At the moment, I am planning on launching my own range of spices. I'll provide you with feedback when that all comes to life. I'm still working on the technical things of it. But at the moment with the brands, I sort of get mine imported in really big bags. So they're by the kilo. Except for saffron. Unfortunately, that's very expensive per kilo. Saffron, I get direct from Iran because that's where you can find the best. Salt and pepper is just generic. I just use simple things. I don't see a big difference between any of them. Red sumac, for example, I get from, it's actually a Turkish one. So there's a Lebanese one that I can get, but the quality is very different. So just play around with your IDs, see which one tastes better. There is a difference between them. Okay, the next one. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. It's in Russian. Hi, Henry. Thanks for your amazing meat recipes. Please post more Armenian food. What's your favorite kebab? I like Persian kebabs. Have you tried Arjan pilaf before with lule kebab? And what is your favorite kebab that you have tried? Armenian ghazan kebab. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely be posting more meat recipes. What is your favorite kebab? I like Persian kebabs. Look, I've been grown up with Persian kubide kebab, so that's always going to be the signature. Sorry, mind you, that's just a coffee machine pump. Other than that, lately I have been liking Turkish Adana kebab as well, basically because of the spices that's used in it. I've sort of, in a way, gotten tired of Persian jujia kebab, which is the chicken, because chicken sort of gets boring after a while. I'm not saying I hate it, but just for the moment, I'm sick of it. Have you tried Arjan pilaf before? No, I haven't actually. I'll definitely check that out. Have you tried Armenian ghazan kebab? No, I actually haven't. So I'll definitely keep that in mind too. Carla Razavi, salam from USA, Texas. Salam back to you. Mohabbat Khan Malak says, my favorite Lebanese kebabs, dolma, biryani, and just all Persian foods. Look, yeah, I agree. I do love Persian. I do love Middle Eastern foods completely. It doesn't matter what country they're from. Biryani, I'm not the biggest fan of, but that's just a personal preference. I'm still happy to make it. Have you tried using sour cream on meat for marinating? Yeah, I actually have. I have experimented with thickened cream as well. Sour cream does work. There's nothing wrong with that as a substitute for yogurt. Thickened cream doesn't really work that well, so I'd avoid that at all costs, but definitely use sour cream. JT says, have you watched The Crowds? That's my favorite. No, I haven't. I don't think I've heard of that. Have you tried Lebanese food? Do you have on your channel ever tried lahmacun? Yeah, I do have a lahmacun recipe on my channel. Yeah, lahmacun and za'atar, they're actually one of my favorite things. There's a bakery in Blacktown in Sydney. They do probably the most amazing lahmacun and za'atar that I've had. Better than mine, I'll admit. Sometimes when I get bored, I actually make them here in the restaurant as well. Because we have a wood-fired oven, there's a completely different taste and texture to it. So it actually comes out very nice here. I do have a za'atar video as well if you want to check that out on my channel. What's your favorite dolma recipes? Have you tried Persian dolma? What about Armenian? Look, I have played around with different dolma recipes. I did do more of an Armenian and Persian style one on my channel. So that one's made with lamb mince, and it's got the rice and everything in it. I'm not the biggest fan of the Greek version that doesn't have meat in it because I find it's a bit bland. You sort of need that meat texture in it. So look, that's a personal preference again. Everyone's different. Some people are vegetarian and vegan, so I guess the non-meat version would be good for them. Claude1234 says, I never got into horror movies. What are some of your favorites? I like the cheesy movie called House of Wax with Paris Hilton. Yeah, look, that is a cheesy and hilarious movie. So horror movies, look, there's been nothing decent these days. It's been a while since anything decent came out. I would say my favorite all-time would be the Amityville Horror, but that's a 1979 version, the original. The recent version, like with, what was his name? I forgot his name, Ryan Reynolds. I did not like that at all. It was so fake in a way. And basically, the original version was more factual. Now, I know some people would say, look, it was a hoax, and I don't know. But based on the actual facts of the case, that was more factual. The recent one was complete rubbish. One of my other favorites would be The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That was also one of my favorites. And also the entire Saw series, but obviously that's more of a thriller and gory than horror. Have you tried burani? Yes, I have, yeah. I love sumac. Ever tried sumac and onion salads for kebabs before? Yeah, I have actually. So sometimes on the side here, we'll do red onion with sumac and also chopped parsley or mint, and it goes very well. Very nice. Have you tried pomegranate molasses with soy sauce? No, I actually haven't. So I do have to make fusajun today, which is with pomegranate molasses. So I might do a small batch and maybe experiment with soy sauce. That sounds interesting. Buddy Mac 13 says, how stressful is doing a live stream? Look, I wouldn't say it's really stressful. At the start, it's a bit more intimidating. But I had done live videos before, not just on YouTube, but on Facebook as well. So what really makes it easy is if you have people commenting and asking questions. So you're sort of interacting. If I was just sitting here and no one's typing anything, look, what am I going to do? I'm just going to sit here and look at the screen. I'd get bored. You'll need a lot of water if you're doing live streaming, actually. Your mouth will get dry. Next question. Nadia Sani says, is there a way to make kebabs without a grill? Can you get a similar taste by pan frying or baking? Look, somebody asked me this question at the last live stream. You can bake it in the oven, of course, but I will do it at a very high temperature, like 220 degrees Celsius. But I would prefer pan frying. You can get a high heat on a pan and sort of flash fry it. So you're keeping all that flavor in it and all that heat in it, and you're sort of cooking it. Whereas in the oven, you're sort of slowly drying it out. Unless you have a grill in the oven, you can use the grill function. But yeah, I would always say, look, try doing it in a frying pan first. Speaking of pasta, have you ever tried Armenian arishta? No, I haven't. Have you tried ashreshta? It's Persian. Yeah, I have. We have it on the menu in the restaurant. Funny thing about ashreshta, it's a vegetarian soup for anyone wondering. So you got different sort of beans in it. So you got chickpeas, kidney beans, lentils, and a lot of different herbs. So spinach, parsley, mint, dill. And it's got small noodles in it, which are known as reshta, and they're soft. Yeah, the funny thing about that is even in summer, that actually sells. Actually, in summer, it sells much more than in winter. So that's been a funny one. But yeah, it's very popular in our restaurant. Shaki says, is it possible to oven roast kebab and get some char on the outside without overcooking it on the inside? Or can that only be done through grilling? Look, if you wanted to get that char, you won't really get it in the oven. The oven's going to sort of dry it out and it's just going to brown. That's why they say brown your meat before roasting it. So what I will do is, depending on what you're making, I will sort of flash fry it for a few seconds in a frying pan just to get that char all over, then put it into the oven. That way you're sealing all that meat and avoiding it from drying out. Who's next? Sorry, guys. All the questions just jumped ahead again. I don't know why the scroll's not working. Okay. Okay, Zloyan V says, bro, do you speak Armenian? Yeah, I do. I speak both dialects of Armenian, so Persian Armenian and, or they say Aravila High, which is Western Armenian. So we refer to that as Lebanese Armenian, or I don't know why the scroll keeps jumping. Okay, there we are. Biret Mary says, tuning in from Toronto, Canada. Thanks. I'm glad you're tuning in. I did try and specifically do this time to keep people in Canada happy as well. Have you ever used mayo as a salad dressing for something? Have you ever tried meat with mayo? Yeah, I've definitely used mayo as a salad dressing many times. Generally not plain mayo, so I'll mix it with different spices and sort of make like a different sort of dressing. But I mean, simple mayo is very popular on salads. High fat, well, very satisfying. Have you tried pide bread before? I think you have Jingle of Hot's recipe. I don't think I've actually done pide. I actually can't remember. I know I did a video for I did it on Instagram. I can't remember if I put it on my YouTube actually, but I'm pretty sure I did. If I did, it would have been here at the pizza restaurant because we had the oven. So I'll check back on that. If not, I'll definitely put it in my to-do list. Jingle of Hots I've never actually done. So if anyone's wondering, Jingle of Hots is an Armenian sort of flatbread, like lavash bread, stuffed with different sorts of herbs and folded over and baked. It has crossed my mind many times to do it, but I've always forgotten. Definitely in the to-do list though. JT says, sorry, how do you feel about mayo on a steak as a marinade? Look, I've never been a fan of using mayo as a marinade. Reason I say that is I've seen some people make pizzas with mayo as the base. That sort of doesn't work for me. I can't picture it working. So, look, I mean, it's a personal preference. I might try it one day, but when I'm marinating my steaks, I like to keep it very simple. I'll start with just salt and pepper and just make like a very simple base. Staring Inward says, I don't want to say that because I might get a YouTube strike, but what's up, Henry? I love eggplant dishes. What dishes do you have on your channel? Eggplant mini pizzas sound very fun. Have you tried eggplant on lahmacun before? Look, eggplant is a very funny one. I never really liked eggplant, but when it's sort of cooked like a kash badamjan, which is a Persian eggplant dish, I actually like it. Or mirzani ghasemi, which is another Persian dish with eggplant and tomato in it and egg. I've never actually tried it on lahmacun before, but I do have a few different recipes using eggplant on my channel. Definitely check those out, but in saying that, I'll definitely put it on my to-do list to make some more eggplant videos. I did shake al mashi before, which is sort of a stuffed eggplant, so that'll be my most recent one. Carol D says, thank you for sharing. I'm glad you appreciate it. Nick K says, man, you're awesome, Henry. Thank you very much for that. Do you have a good doner kebab recipe? Yeah, I did do a lamb doner kebab, would have been about 2 years ago, actually. So the way I did mine is I did it on a rotisserie. So just a simple barbecue rotisserie that you put on a barbecue and it turns on by itself. Recently, I did a video on how to do I did a chicken doner kebab as well, I think, yeah. So doing that, I did it with the chicken fire. Once again, the same principle, I'll put it on the rotisserie and it spins slowly. Now, if you can't do this, you can put it in an oven. Just line everything on top, place it into the oven, and bake it like that. Have you ever tried pilaf with pita bread pieces inside? No, I haven't. So when I'm eating pilaf, I like it to be nice and soft. I hate when there's hard things in there. Actually, back to the doner kebab video. Just a couple of weeks ago, I did do a video on shawarma, chicken shawarma. So maybe check that one out too. Very similar to doner. What are your best tips for grilling and making kebabs? What about chorovods? Look, grilling and making kebabs, I always say use a very high temperature because you want to seal all that flavor and everything inside. And you want to very quickly grill your meat. You don't want to slow cook it and dry it out. So that'll be the most important tip. Depending on if you're doing a mince or sort of a diced meat kebab, there'll be a few different tips there. But if you're doing mince, keep it at a cold temperature before you cook it, or it's going to fall off the skewer. If you're doing a diced kebab, you can take it out and leave it at room temperature for about 10-20 minutes before you actually cook it. Mohabbat Khan Malak says, Henry, it would be wonderful if you do a month of Armenian, a month of Lebanese, a month of Turkish, Azeri, Persian, etc. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Unfortunately, because as a chef, I'm doing this full time as well. So the issue is I hardly get time to actually focus on one thing. I sort of get ideas in my mind, and if I get the time, I'll do it. So that'll be the only issue. It's just a timing thing, unfortunately. Or else, yeah, I've always had many ideas like that. I mean, I could easily push out a video every day, but it's just the time thing. It's not just recording, it's the editing. Editing takes a lot more time than actually recording. That's why Livestream is much easier because, look, this is it, But in saying that, I have been planning to do some sort of live cook-along videos, like short videos. So I'll definitely keep that in mind. Zloyan V says, bro, do you speak Armenian? Yes, I do. I speak both dialects. Mohabbat, that would be amazing. Yeah, definitely. That's a good idea. Have you ever done anything from Azeri cuisine? Ever tried baklava? They do mini baklava. No, I haven't specifically. I do baklava. We serve baklava in the restaurant. Your favorite Turkish recipes? Have you ever tried Armenian recipes from Turkey? Look, my favorite Turkish recipe would obviously be Adana kebab. There's no way around that. Other than that, baklava, for example, is influenced heavily by Turkish. So is bastırma. So bastırma was actually one of the earlier videos that I did, and one of the more popular videos. I never sort of was crazy about bastırma. Like, I like it, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't my most favorite thing. So I'll still eat it now, but I won't sit there and eat it forever. Azeri hotap is good. You should try. Even they do cookies with walnuts. Yeah, definitely. I'll keep that in mind. 2 months ago, you made a community post about gallstones and liver problems. Are you doing better? Have you changed your diet? Any upcoming healthy recipes? Yeah, look, that was a scary time. So originally, I had gallstone issues over a year ago, actually. But my doctor at the time, when we looked at the results, they weren't sort of bad enough to do unnecessary surgery over. So he recommended that I change my diet, cut out the fatty foods, etc. And look, I did. And the funny thing is, for almost 6 months, I didn't feel a thing. I felt perfectly normal. Then I sort of started going heavily to the gym, and I started ketosis again. I did hear a long time ago that ketosis is connected with gallbladder issues. I didn't think much of it. And for 2 weeks, I started having very bad issues with my gallbladder. What had happened was I had made an appointment with my doctor to pretty much do another test and see if I needed to, do the surgery, get it over and done with. So I had my appointment booked. 3 days before my appointment, I woke up at, I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I could not breathe. Now, what had happened was I drove myself to hospital, and basically they did test straight away. So, look, luckily, the Australian health system is incredible. Like, I've mentioned this before, but we're very lucky here. Some people tend to forget that when they're from Australia. But when they did the results, what had happened was one of the gallstones had blocked the duct to my liver. And basically, apparently, my eyes had gone yellow. I couldn't tell at the time. I couldn't even take out my phone. I was struggling to even write on the admission form my details, and they got my name and everything wrong. So that's how much pain I was in. Yeah, look, I had the surgery. I feel 100%. I have been watching what I eat, so I'm careful about how much fat I eat. So you need to be careful about that for the first couple of months. I have been slowly introducing little things like that just to make sure my body doesn't overreact eventually. So it's just about training. Yeah, so, cutting out the fat, cutting out the caffeine. I do have a coffee here, but 1 coffee, 2 coffees a day is fine. I'm just really careful about caffeine at night when my body's inactive when I sleep. Urartu1 says, what is awesome about your videos is how you write to the point without unrelated small talk and no annoying music. Great work. Look, yeah, I agree with that. Look, when I first started YouTube, actually, forget about YouTube for a second. When I, look around for recipes and I'm Googling and I come across blogs, it actually gets to me how people write an entire life story about something as stupid as a dip, for example. So you need to read about 10 pages of their life story and how they came up with this idea for this dip. And you need to scroll all the way to the bottom to see the recipe and the ingredients. And that really gets to me because I don't understand why. No one has time there to sit there. Frankly, I don't think anyone cares. They just want the recipe. That's what they click for. So that sort of clickbaiting really gets to me. That's why I don't do it to you guys, okay? When I start the video, I'll tell you what I'm making and I make it and that's it. The only sort of clickbait I'll say is please subscribe to me and support me. That's all. So I'm not planning on changing that anytime soon. So we'll stick to that right how it is. Like I said, let's get straight into it. That's what I mean. I didn't say let's go straight into my life story. If you want to ask me about my life story, we can live stream. Have you ever tried Georgian cuisine? You should do videos. Saffron is used in Georgia too, not only Iran and Azerbaijan. Look, yeah, that's correct. Saffron is used heavily everywhere now. Georgian cuisine, yeah, I have. Khachaburi is very popular in Armenian cuisine as well. So I have done a video on that. I actually did the video here at the Italian restaurant because we did it in the wood-fired oven. So yeah, that came out very well. It's actually very nice. I do like khachaburi, or buri as it's referred to. Turmeric is used both in Azeri and Iranian cuisine as well. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, heavily in Iranian cuisine too. Turmeric. Oh, sorry. JT says turmeric. I love tandoori chicken. Yep, same. I agree. Skull7314 says keep up the lives we out here in Florida, USA. Thanks for tuning in from Florida too. Fresh recipes with sumac ? It's Mediterranean shrub. It was once used in Italy too. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So it's making a very big impact all over the world, actually. Like, it is expensive. I think that's what it's more known for, the price. Last I heard, there was a guy here in Sydney selling saffron for $1,000 a kilo. I mean, I wouldn't really fork out that much, but we do use it a lot. But a kilo would last a long time. And to be honest, if someone's selling it by the kilo, I wouldn't really trust the quality of it. I have seen fake saffron out there on the market. Ever tried Georgian kebab? It's served with barberry sauce. No, I haven't, but that does sound interesting. I'll keep that in mind. Claude1234 says, of course, he's tried Turkish kebabs. He has a bunch of recipes on his channel. Look, yeah, I agree. A lot of the Turkish kebabs I did were earlier, so years ago. So they're probably not coming up as often now. So that might be all. JT says, lamb is not popular here in the States yet. Yeah, I agree with that. It's very interesting how lamb is not popular. But I'd be very curious to know how much lamb costs in America. So if anyone knows, let me know. Like, for example, a shoulder cut or something, how much it would be a kilo. That's nice. Hope you have a range of JAZZVEH, Chameli, Suneli, Chayman, etc. Yeah, referring to my range of spices, yeah, I'll definitely be doing things like that. So I'll start off small and see how it goes, but yeah, we'll definitely get a big range. Carol D says, we get lamb on the East Coast, but it is no less than $6 a pound. Most of the time, it is close to $11 a pound. Okay, so if we're talking $11 a pound, I generally just double it to get an average price. So let's say $20 to $22 a kilo for lamb, which is quite steep actually. So something like a shoulder cut of lamb, for example, here in Australia, at a wholesale price to me, I get it usually for around $16 a kilo. That's 16 Australian dollars, by the way. Zach says a lot of lambs here in New York. Good joke. Natalie G says, I love lamb and I'm in the States. I'm glad to hear. Zloyan V says, bro, how is life in Australia? Look, life in Australia is pretty much returning to normal. So pretty much, yeah, all the states are out of lockdown. We did have a national plan by the federal government where once we hit, I think it was 70% of the population vaccinated, there'll be no more lockdowns. 80% means just, international travel, regional travel, all that. 90%, which we're almost approaching, it's pretty much life back to normal. So we're doing very well on that end. Yeah, but life is pretty much back to normal here. I don't go out much because I'm always working, so it doesn't really affect me much. I love Adana Kebab too. Yeah, definitely, yeah. One of my butchers, actually, they make their own blend of Adana Kebab, so ready to go. He sent me that a few times to try. It is amazing. So they actually make it without a machine. They do it with a knife, with a zir, it's called, which is a long knife, and they mince it by hand. So it's very nice. You have to try Western Armenian kebabs too. Yeah, definitely will. Natalie G says, lamb where I am is $6.98 a pound. So we're talking around $13 to $15 a kilo, which isn't too bad. So maybe a state thing over there. Have you heard of Borano? It's Georgian. No, I haven't. Natalie G says up to 11 a pound. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So as long as you're getting a decent cut, that's fine. Yeah. JT says, I'm sick of ribeye steaks for the last 2 years. They are just too sweet. That's the Mayo question. Ribeye. Too sweet. Look, the thing is, I do like my steaks sweet, so it'd be sort of hard to think of something else for that. I will definitely give it a try with mayo. I don't see it being a negative thing, to be honest. So I might actually give that a try myself too. Walter Wiseman says, do you use ginseng in anything? No, I don't actually. I'll definitely keep that in mind. It does have a lot of health benefits. Za'atar is a good spice. What do you think of Egyptian dukkha? You have to try hilbe. It's cayman paste from Yemen. Yeah, za'atar is a very good spice. Not just on the bread, of course, but if you marinate chicken with za'atar, it is amazing too. Even if you marinate a rack of lamb with za'atar, you'd be surprised how nice that is. Egyptian dukkha is a very rich sort of spice mix. I haven't worked with it much. I have done a few recipes on it. I did do a rack of lamb marinated, crusted with dukkha, I should say. So it is very heavy and rich. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Hilbe cayman paste from Yemen. No, I haven't tried that. Whenever I've made cayman paste, like for basturma, when I make it, I make my own. Do you like baharat? Have you tried in kebabs and dolma too? Yeah, baharat spice mix. I'll make it myself when I need it. Yeah, I do like it, especially the cinnamon in it. I really like that flavor of it. It's very nice. Are you a fan of Greek grill? Yeah, definitely. Can't go wrong with souvlaki. Chima says hi, hello back, or waving, so I'll wave back. What about fish and vegetables? I hope you have tried horovats with them. What are recipes you have on your channel? As a fish kebab, I've only done mahi kebab, which is a Persian salmon kebab. As you all know, I'm not really the biggest fan of seafood, so I don't really work with it much. But I'll definitely keep that in mind. Chima says, do you have a cookbook published? No, at this stage I don't. I have been thinking about whether I should or not. If I do, I don't know if I'll do a sort of, physical publication or an ebook, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. Have you tried halva recipes? Yeah, I have. I've only done one. Once again, it's one of the early videos on my channel, so definitely have a look at that. Do you have any pumpkin recipes? Pumpkin recipes, I don't think I have much. I think I only have one, which is Armenian rapama, which is basically a stuffed pumpkin. So definitely give that a go. Claude1234 says, do you wish Australia had the culture of tipping like in the United States? Look, that's a very interesting question because it does actually cause problems here in Australia. So the way here in Australia it works is the minimum wage is roughly around $20 an hour, but tipping is not customary here. Now, the issue with this is when you find staff, for example, they're sort of guaranteed that $20 an hour, whether they do their job or they do a poor job. So there's no sort of incentive for them to upsell, for them to work harder or give a better service. Now, in the States, for example, I'm not really sure what the minimum wage is right now, but I remember back when I was there, I think like 5 or 6 years ago, I had a cousin who was getting around $10 an hour working in a restaurant, but they got tips on top. Now, the entire time I was in America, the way I watched people work was night and day compared to here. They actually worked hard, provided good service there. Whereas here, you have to constantly be on everyone's back to do their job. So I do wish the system was changed here and there was that custom of, tipping is customary here, but the wage is different. But unfortunately, I don't think that will ever work because, it's just the way Australia's developed. So that's just the way it is here. Some people do tip though, not everyone, but some people do tip. JT says, would flambeing work after baking for the marks? Yeah, I think it would actually, definitely. Mopar Shane says, hello from the Great Lakes. Hello. Any difference marinating chicken with Greek yogurt versus buttermilk versus regular yogurt? Look, the reason I use Greek yogurt is regular yogurt is generally sweetened. Now, we don't want anything sweetened. Buttermilk, it really depends what I'm doing. So if I'm sort of brining something, I'll use buttermilk, not yogurt. If I'm doing any sort of the Middle Eastern kebab recipes, I'll use Greek yogurt because I'm not brining it. I'm just marinating, skewering, cooking. Claude1234 says, have you ever had a HSP or snack packs? Do you like them? Actually, I don't know if HSPs are known around the world, actually. But for anyone watching and doesn't know, HSP is a halal snack pack. Basically, it's a very common thing here in Australia. It's basically a box of fried potatoes or chips or crisps. Oh, sorry, not crisps, fries, whatever you want to call it. And it's topped with shaved doner kebab. So either lamb, beef, chicken, or a mix of all. And on that, we put sauce. So barbecue sauce or tomato sauce is very common, or garlic sauce. Or we've got something that's known as the holy trinity of sauces, which is barbecue sauce, garlic sauce, and hot chili sauce. Oh yeah, I've definitely had them. And yeah, I do like them actually. Definitely full of fat and full of oil, but it really hits the spot. Just makes me very bloated. It's a lot of spice and garlic, and add the chili sauce too. The wolf that could says, howdy back. Mahabat Khan Malak says, ajvar with eggplant, bell peppers in olive oil. Have it with lavash bread. Okay, I'll definitely give that a go. Mopar Shane says, have you ever roasted chicken with oil, lemon zest, rosemary, salt, and pepper? I have roasted chicken with everything except the rosemary. I'm not the biggest fan of rosemary, but I have used thyme instead of rosemary. Mr. Podolsky says, hey, greetings from London, UK. It's 2 a.m. here right now. Okay, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Sorry for keeping you up. But I'll definitely keep that in mind for future live streams. Verizwan says, glad you are better. Love from the UK. Your Lebanese kofta kebab recipe is amazing. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Everyone was very supportive. And everyone was also very understanding that I couldn't post videos for a while. I was going to live stream from the hospital, but I really didn't want to do that. I don't think you can actually legally. Mary Dixon says, I enjoy cooking alongside your videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mopar Shane says, what is the best way to mix saffron water? I do have a video on how to do that. Basically, what I'll do is I'll crush the saffron with just a little bit of white sugar. And the white sugar helps crush the saffron because it's sort of crunchy. So do that in a mortar and pestle. Or if you have like a small coffee grinder, you can do that. But don't mix it with the coffee because it will ruin the flavor. Once you've done that, hot water, boiling hot water. And leave it for a couple of minutes, like 10 minutes, to let all those flavors develop and intensify. Mary Dixon says, hello from Southeast Michigan, Middle Eastern capital of USA. My grandfather was Lebanese. Okay, that's interesting. Middle Eastern capital of USA. Good to know. Thanks for joining. Miran says, greetings from Sal. Henry, been a fan for a few years. Do you toast your rice herb mixture into olive oil when making dolma prior to assembly? No, I don't actually. I sort of just mix it all together. RRZ says, hello, Henry John from California. I tried your chicken kebab recipe. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Good to see you tuning in. Curious to see what state everyone's from in the state. What county everyone's from in the States. Let me know. Ihab Berajawi says, hello from New Jersey. Thanks for tuning in. Mary Dixon says, lamb shoulder $4.99 a pound in Dearborn, Michigan. $11 US a kilo or 14.62 Australian. So if that's how much you're paying retail, that's actually cheaper than Australia, because lamb shoulder from a sort of retail butcher here is roughly around 17 to 18 a kilo, Australian dollars. So, yeah, that's much cheaper. RRZ says, would you recommend saffron water? Look, definitely, saffron water is amazing. I know it's expensive, but you can really make it last. Hi, have you ever tried any Caribbean food? Caribbean food, I've only done a couple of recipes. I know I've done Jamaican jerk chicken, and I'm pretty sure I did coconut rice as well. So definitely check those out on my channel. Ehab Berjawi says, McDonald's pays $15 an hour, so that'll be US dollars. Costco just raised the minimum wage to $17 an hour. So once again in the States. Look, so the minimum wage for all industries here in Australia, I believe, is around 19.50 Australian dollars an hour. That's no tips, though. The cost of living here is higher too, so I think they're paying much better there. Carol D says, what does sumac taste like? Is there a substitute? Sumac is sort of a very tangy, sort of tart flavor. Unfortunately, there really isn't a substitute for it because it's a very unique flavor. Once I do launch my range of spices, I will do a sumac blend as well. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Kimber says, every time I cook lamb leg, it always comes dry. How can I make the lamb meat fall off the bone? So if you're roasting your lamb leg, make sure there's fat on it. Don't be trimming the fat off it. Most importantly, what temperature are you cooking it at? You need a very low temperature, and you need to cook for a longer period of time. That will cause it to fall off the bone. The 00629 says, is your food halal? Are we allowed to serve alcohol with halal food? So most of the meat in Australia is halal except for pork. Reason being is a lot of our meat is exported. I don't have a halal license in my restaurants because basically, it's not necessary based on where I'm located. There isn't a demand for it. And to do that, it's a very complicated process. You need to use certain suppliers, certain distributors, and you need to pay a lot of money for it too. So it's really unnecessary for me. If people ask, yeah, our food is halal, our butchers are halal, so I have their certificates if anyone wants to see, so there's no issue with that. Mohabbat Khan Malak says, best wishes and good health, Henry. Fresh ginger is good to burn off any fats. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Everyone, looking after my health, meant a lot. Fresh ginger is definitely good. Not just to burn off fat. Fresh ginger is good for everything, actually. So when I make chili sauce, I always put fresh ginger in it, and it tastes amazing. So definitely do that. It was amazing. Carol D says to Kimber, I sous vide my lamb and it is moist and tender. Yeah, definitely that would make sense. So once again, it will depend on your cooking method and temperature. So let me know and I'll see if I can help you out. Mopal Shane says, thank you about answering the saffron mix. I'll look into the video. Yeah, no worries. I'm pretty sure it's a very popular video too, so it won't be hard to find. Pretty sure if you just look saffron water, it will come up. Cambo says, thanks to Carol D. Appreciate it. Thanks, Carol, for answering my question. Seriously says, Henry, have you ever sold at market stores before? I want to start a small business in Sydney selling cakes. No, I actually haven't. Basically, where I'm located, there is a large market about 5 minutes from me, and you can hire a stall there for about, pretty sure it's $130 a day, if I'm not mistaken, and you can sell anything you want. Unfortunately, I haven't really had the time to do that. I have thought about it. It's been in the back of my head, but I haven't really had any products that I'd be able to do or want to do. Now, once I do launch this range of spices, I will definitely look into that because it's very busy over there, and so it'd be a good way to launch. So look, it'll depend on where you're located. I'm referring to Parklea Markets, if you know where that is. So it's, from what I remember, $130 a day. It's cheaper if you hire for Saturday and Sunday. And of course, there's Paddy's Markets as well, always busy. So I would definitely give them a try. If not, you can sort of go and try sort of local markets as well. I don't know how much it costs, but it wouldn't be much cheaper. It wouldn't be much more expensive. RRZ says, would love to see a video on how to make halim badamjan. Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised I haven't done that yet. I'll keep that in mind. Ihab Berjawi says, I am Lebanese and I love your videos. Thanks, brother. Thank you very much. GingerCow1234, not a food question, but how often do you run into spiders in Australia? Yeah, look, so everyone knows the joke. Everything in Australia is trying to kill you. Believe it or not, if I walk out the door here right now, there's a sign that says beware of snakes. So sometimes I don't even walk home just because I'm scared of that. Look, depending on where you're located, I'm sort of out in the suburbs here. So it's sort of developed. So I don't really run into big spiders, let's say, all right? I don't run into big spiders that often. I'd say once every couple of weeks you run into a big huntsman spider. And the most common and dangerous spider here in Australia is a redback. Generally, if that bites you, it can kill you if you don't get attention. Yeah, but look, every day you'll see a small spider. They're hidden everywhere, like trees and plants and outdoor chairs and everything. So you have to keep up with your surface spraying all the time with that. And pest control, of course. Rover25X says, the beer battered onion rings recipe you did are amazing. Made them several times. Thank you very much for that. It's actually one of my waitresses that recommended I do that. And she was the real guinea pig and she was happy with it. So once I got her approval, I was up recording it for YouTube. Ihab Berjawi says, love your tats, nice. Thank you very much. So look, so that one there is the coat of arms of Armenia, and that says Hayastan, which is Armenian. That there is the Armenian Orthodox cross. Thanks for that. Good observation. Rover25X says, cook the lamb over a trivet of carrot and onions with about 500 mils of chicken stock, keep it moist, and get you a gravy base. Yeah, look, that's correct. But once again, it will depend on what your temperature, your oven temperature. If you go too high, it's sort of going to dry it out. You're not going to let it slowly break down. Ihab Berjawi says, and you look great. You lost a lot of weight. What is your secret? Look, guys, being in hospital for the 3 days, I could barely eat. And I lost a lot of weight. And I could tell, like, even when I put my pants on in the hospital, they didn't fit. Well, they were too loose, I should say. Then when I came home, for about 2 or 3 days, I could not eat at all. So I was pretty much drinking water all the time and sort of fruit juice just to get my energy up. After the surgery, they recommended not to eat solid foods, I think, for about 2 or 3 weeks, and to stick to a soft soup sort of diet, which is what I had to do, unfortunately. And I did lose a lot of weight after that. I have put a bit back on, and you need to realize I lost a lot of water weight when I was in the hospital. It wasn't necessarily fat. So once I was back to normal, a lot of that come back on. Hopefully soon I'll be going back to the gym. I'm still waiting for like my scars to heal. Rover25X says, Henry, I hope you have a coffee on the go. Laugh out loud. Yep, definitely. So I always have a coffee with me. So actually, this is a wood-fire roasted coffee that we use here in the restaurant. It is amazing, actually. So definitely try them out. They're called the Wood Roaster. They roast their coffee here in Australia, in Sydney, I should say. Fanyako, hi, if I'm cooking Middle Eastern style rice with chicken, usually I boil the chicken to make the stock for like 35 minutes, which it tastes great, but sometimes it turns out dry. Look, are you using the whole chicken or what? Usually if I'm doing a chicken stock, I'll just use the bones and sort of the fatty part. So, like for example, in the restaurant we serve chicken Maryland. When I cook that, I braise it, of course. I'll save that water after, and that's my chicken stock. So, yeah, I'd be very curious to see what cut you're using. So just let me know if you see this. Ihab Berjawi says, wishing you all the best. Keep up the good work, my friend. Thank you very much. It means a lot. I'm glad you're all supporting. Okay, I'll just check to see if anyone else has commented through any emails. Okay, I guess that's it from emails. So I guess that'll be it, guys, for this live stream. Just almost an hour and 15 minutes here, longer than I expected. I'm glad to see everyone tuning in again. It means a lot. So guys, once again, I'll play around with the times. I'll see what works well, because I want to be able to get everyone involved. I just don't want to be unfair to some other countries. Being here in the Southern Hemisphere, our time zone is completely different. So I know some people are going to suffer, but I'll try and do it all so everyone's happy. Rover25X says, would love to see some easy flatbread recipes. Yeah, definitely. I should be able to do that here at the Italian restaurant. We've got the oven there. Carol D says, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Mopar Shane, good night and good luck. Actually, good morning to me. But good night, sweet dreams, and thank you very much for tuning in. Claude1234, thank you. Eric T, good to join here tonight. Thanks for everything that you do. Thank you very much. I appreciate it all, guys. So once again, if you want to join as a member, you'll get some perks as well. Just hit the join button, or you can support me on Patreon as well. I'll probably announce the next live stream date and time probably tomorrow. So that'll be roughly in about 12 hours, I would say. Mahabat Khan Malak says, from New Zealand, I love Henry. Thank you. Thank you very much. Love to New Zealand as well. Hope you guys are doing all right. Rover25X, it's 2:13 a.m. in the morning in the UK. Clocks went back 1 hour. Oh, yeah, that's right. I did see a few memes for that, actually. Walter Wiseman says, cheers. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I'll see you all next time.